Hey y'all, Erin here. Welcome back for another homeschool update. Today I'm going to be sharing our 6th and 7th month. How are we already here? But 6th and 7th month for us was February and March. And for us, we had a couple big things happen those couple months. We had our 100th day of school celebration in February. We had Valentine's Day. We had St. Patrick's Day. We had spring break. We had a field trip to Washington, D.C. to see the cherry blossoms, and we celebrated Easter, so it was a jam-packed 2 months for us. All right, if you are new here, I am Erin. I'm a homeschool mama to 3 little kids. I have Timothy, 8 years old, Evie, who was 5, and Titus, who was 4. So I'm gonna just jump right in what we've been doing so far, or lately. All right, for Timothy, my 3rd grader, we are doing Exploring Countries and Cultures, and we are currently in the continent of Asia. So there's nothing too much new I'm going to talk about with him. We've just been the same things that we've been doing all year. He's still doing this handwriting book, 1 page a day. It's been going well. We are still doing this for language lessons, and I've talked about it before, but it's like a lot of poetry study, picture studies, grammar, dictation, composition, stuff like that, and it's going well. For science, we're mostly using these 2 books, Properties of Ecosystems and the Living World Encyclopedia, and I love both of these resources. Just absolutely love. For our science, we're doing the ecosystems of the countries that we're learning about. That's been going great. I've talked about this in every book. This is one of my favorite books this year, but this is the Children's Atlas of God's World. When we start a new country we're learning about, we'll be in this book for about 1, 2, maybe 3 days, reading about it and really learning about that country. And he has a worksheet that he fills out about some of the major information. And then one of my favorite things about geography this year is the geography game we play. And so right now we're in Asia, so we've been doing this one for a couple months now, but we still get rusty every once in a while. We usually do it once a week or so, maybe twice. And I love that we're doing this so frequently because I can see some need to practicing a lot, because when you don't practice for a while, you forget some of those countries. And then for math, we are using The Good and the Beautiful Level 3 math, and I do really enjoy this math for Timothy. And my favorite thing about this math is that they have so much of a geography focus. All right, for his read alouds this year, we have still been going through Hero Tales. I love this book. I usually use this resource in the afternoon, and Evie and Titus will listen to it as well. Sometimes we'll read in the living room and they'll be playing on the floor as long as they're doing it quietly. And then sometimes we'll just be sitting at the table, maybe, with something to drink and a snack. And after they eat that, maybe they'll color while I'm reading it. But all of the kids can listen and answer questions when I ask them questions. And it's nice seeing how God uses people in different ways for His glory. All right, for our missionary studies, we have 5 missionary studies this year. So we started out with Nate Saint, and he was in North America, South America. We did George Mueller next. He was in Europe. Then we did David Livingston, and he was in Africa. Next, we did Amy Carmichael, and she was in India. And both Timothy and I said that she was probably our favorite missionary story. Very positive story that we just really enjoyed. The one we're currently doing, we're about halfway through right now, is Gladys Allward. And her story is a little bit harder. She's in China, and you can see halfway through, she has had nothing but obstacles. It has been a hard journey, but it facilitates some good discussion, because a lot of times for missionaries, it might not always be easy. It might be very challenging, and they really have to rely on their faith. They really have to rely on prayer and maybe even some creativity to share the gospel with others. There's this one point where just people would call her and her other missionary partners names and throw mud at them, and so they had to really find creative ways to be able to share the gospel with others. So good conversations, definitely with that. We're going through Chronicles of Narnia this year, and so right now we're on The Magician's Nephew, and we're both really enjoying this one. And Timothy's favorite book series this year is the Green Ember series. So There's 4 main books in the series that we read those at the beginning of the year. Right after Christmas time, we read the Joe Shanks trilogy. Loved them. Timothy loved them. And then this one is the Black Star of Kingston. This is part of the prequel. So we read the first one in that trilogy, and then we have 2 more to go. Love, 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 love the Green Ember series. All right, that's it for Timothy. Moving on to Evie, my kindergartner. We are doing God's creation from A to Z. And I think, just in case you're new, the way it works is on Monday, we start out with this book. This is God's Amazing World from Apples to Zebra. And in the book, it will have the topic for the week. So E is for elephant. It'll have some information about that. It will have a scripture, and it says, I will remember what God has done for me. And so those, we use those for badges too. So I'll show you that in just a minute. But this is always on Monday. This is the real core of the kindergarten curriculum, is this book. And then Tuesday, we'll have a handwriting page and sound discrimination page. Wednesday will be the math page and a cut and color paste page. Thursday, we'll do some phonics and reading. And then Friday, she has like a page where she'll draw a picture and then she'll practice writing the letters or words. She started to want to write the words now. So for badges, I decided to do a book for her. For Timothy, I did it where I just put the badges around his bulletin board. So there's so many different ways that you could do the badges, but they do recommend doing something to remember what you're learning. So we did the books, and we actually just finished it today because we are currently on the Y is for Yellow week. And so right after this week, we will be doing 2 weeks for a Fruit of the Spirit study. And then I have a few other things because we're not quite ready to finish school this early yet. For Evie, I keep all of her work in her binder. I keep our calendars, all of her handwriting pages, all of her math pages, everything that she's done throughout the year. I keep it in this binder so it is all together. All right, we've done so many awesome read alouds for her, but that I feel like it adds too much time to the video. So I might at the end of the year, when I just do a video just on her end of the year review, talk about her books a little bit more specifically. All right, moving on to my youngest son, Titus, who is doing All Aboard the Animal Train. This is his favorite book for that. It is called First Virtues, 12 Stories for Toddlers. And you see, I keep his poster right here and his coloring pages up there. But whenever he knows that we're doing a new unit, he flips right to the book because he looks for the animal. He loves reading this book because we read it multiple times while we're doing the unit. And I love this book, great book. His second favorite book is, this one is called A Big Treasury of Little Animals. So the last one we did was about the lamb, and then now we're on the piglet one. I like that it has real pictures of the animals, and then they have a little story about that. So that has been really lovely. For him, I keep all of his stuff in here, and he loves school time. He sees big brother, big sister doing school time. He wants his turn to do school time as well. So sometimes he just takes his binder off the shelf and he will flip through it. So I have all the units tabbed out by the numbers, and he likes to flip through it and see his work. So then I've got all the worksheets for his bunny unit, and the lion, and then bear, and then cat, duck, squirrel, panda, and then we got dog, and then there was tiger, and like I said, our last one was lamb, and now we're on pig. So it has gone really well for him. And then I wanted to talk about this surprise thing that happened. So sometimes when I teach co-op, I teach 3 classes at co-op, I tell my students, okay, all right, I want you to close your eyes and think. So think about something wonderful or surprising or interesting that happened to you the past 2 months. And I'd love for you to share them in the comments so I can cheer you on as well. But something really cool and exciting happened during our spring break. Timothy got so interested. We did comic books in one of our co-op classes. He got so interested that he has written like 3 or 4 stories within this past 2 weeks. So we started out in the co-op class and he just worked fiercely at home. He loved the idea that he could create a story with the illustrations, and he did such a good job. And he added words here and there. And then he had so much fun with the comic books that I had these for him. And then he, oh, this is the new one, so he hasn't written that one yet, but this is his newest one. He illustrated and he wrote more in these books than he writes for school time. So it was just so amazing for me. He did this purely for fun. He just had so much in his brain that he wanted to get out. He would just draw and color, and then he okay, and then he wanted me to help him, so I would write out the words and then he'd copy them, but his handwriting was so neat. And so for me, that was the coolest thing that has happened in the past 2 months, but specifically the last 2 weeks was Timothy writing all of these stories and books. And I'd like to hear what's been cool in your homeschool. All right. Another thing that I wanted to share is for March specifically, I started trying really hard to make sure we would do a devotion of the day. So I used this book. This was a VBS that we went to in the summer. It's called Twists and Turns. They were real short devotions, but the kids liked it. And then March had 31 days. So I decided to try something. I did a proverb a day, either at breakfast or lunch, sometimes at dinner. I would read it or my husband would read it. The kids got these coloring pages, so it was kind of like Advent, but they would color one picture a day that corresponded with the Easter story. And I would start reading the proverb and one of the kids would go get the coloring pages and they would just sit there and listen and color. And it was amazing. So that was another win for our homeschool, specifically for the month of March. And that was awesome. If there's many 31 days in the year, so if you would like to try that with your kids, they might actually like it. You might surprise yourself. All right, for me, I'm doing 2 Bible studies right now through my local PWC. I'm doing Find Your People and Discovering the Good News in John, and I am loving both of those studies. And for spring break, we just all took a break, and kids played mag tiles and pom pals and Legos every single day. And I read books. I read almost a new book every single day of spring break, and it was awesome. And I am refreshed and ready to finish out our school year now. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope this was interesting or informative or encouraging to you that you can try some new things. And please share in the comments a win you've had in your homeschool so I can cheer you on. I will see you next time. Bye.